Hello, everyone. This is Elena with Elena's Journey 444. I have a really cool angelic story to share today. I'm going to face this down because it uploads quicker. All of my videos are generally like mini podcasts. So it's not your screen or your device. I am just having a dark screen. It makes things upload quicker, and I'm a little technologically challenged, so it just makes things go quicker for me. I'm letting this channel grow organically. I'm not worried about fancy bells and whistles. My angels have already told me that this is going to continue to grow, and that I will be able to help a lot of people. So I'm excited. Initially, I'm going to be sharing all of my angelic experiences. This is another one of them, as well as some NDEs. And then we will be going live, and I will be helping other people to also share their experiences. So it's very exciting. And the story I have today, for those of you who are new to my channel and haven't listened to my other videos, I have crossed through the veil, meaning I've died and come back a few times. I've also been so ill that I've been hovering near the veil for months at a time. Um, so, and I was born with many spiritual gifts. We all are. I'm no better than anybody else, but it's just a matter of if you're embracing them or learning how to use them or trusting yourself, trusting your gut, and trusting yourself. So, that being said, excuse the interruption there for a moment. I have a 4-year-old toddler running around the house too. So, um, but that being said, this story I really like because it kind of gives you some insight into what sessions are like when I'm working one-on-one with someone to clear energy or to give them answers to questions or to help them to hold space for them and help them to find the answers within, to clear trauma, help them feel worthy, to do healing work just on many different levels. So I am a Christ-centered energy medicine practitioner as well. So anyway, and I hear my angels just they just butted in. They're like, make sure you tell them you hear, because a lot of times when I'm recounting stories and things, they will interject things, and so they just interjected and said, make sure you tell them that you hear us. So anyway, there was a woman. I am still actually friends with her, but at the time, she was a client. We were just starting to become friends, but she was a client of mine, and she has several children. Her and her husband, and they she was I believe she was. I'm not going to share her name because I haven't asked her if I could share this story, but as long as I'm not sharing names, I think it'll be okay. I don't think she would have a problem with it. If I felt that way in any way, shape, or form, I would not be sharing this. But anyway, she was she was getting her hair done at she lives in a very rural community, and she was at someone's house who was a hairdresser, and they were doing her hair. They have a salon in their house, and she could see out the window. I believe it was a beautiful spring day, and she could see her vehicle parked right there, out the window. And she had, I'm not sure how many, I think she had like um, a few of her children in the car with her. And a couple of them were older, like I believe like 11 or 12 was the oldest. But then she had her baby with her, and her baby um, was being watched by the older sibling because it was, it's just too much work to take a baby in to have somebody cut your hair. So the baby was there, and she has a big vehicle, because as I said, she has many children, and this was a big vehicle. It's kind of, lifted up a little high, I think. Not super high, but I believe it was something like a Suburban or something. And it's an older one. So it's, big and heavy and metal. And anyway, the windows were down, and her child that was watching, the youngest child, which I think the youngest child, I think if I remember back, this happened several years ago, but the child was like 2, and 2-ish, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older. I'm thinking, I keep hearing 18 months, so possibly, um, I'm not sure, around 2. So um, the child was playing with his sibling, I believe it was his older sister that was holding him. And he was, how toddlers can be, and he was kind of reaching out the window, and the older sibling had a hold of him, but he reached too far and kind of threw himself. He like jerked forward and kind of threw himself out the window. And my friend, my client at the time, she saw this happen. She saw the child come out the window and head for the ground. But when she thought the child hit the ground, I'll explain in a second. And it was the big chunky gravel, like, gravel, because this was out in the rural community. So it wasn't like little tiny peat gravel. It was, like little rocks, about the size of the end of your thumb, like gravel, regular gravel. And the child hit, and then it looked like the child bounced off the ground. It bounced up, fairly high. And she was just mortified and terrified, and she ran out there to see if her child was okay. And he didn't, really have a scratch on him. And she just couldn't understand. He was scared, and upset, but he was perfectly fine. And she just felt awful and terrible. And so she called me. I don't remember if it was that day or the next day, but we were having a session. She called me to go over this, and to have a session for healing, general clearing trauma energy and different things. She had a lot of familial issues with family, and anyway, she was discussing it with me. And this is one of the favorite things about my gifts when I'm doing a one-on-one session with someone, is when someone's explaining something to me, I am able to see it visually happen. I get downloads of information, just a knowing about what happened, but I can also see, and many times other people involved in the situation, I can feel their thoughts and energy as well. Now, I know that may be a stretch for some of you, but this is what happens for me. It's my reality. So, um, anyway, she was recounting the incident, and she was just feeling, terribly guilty. And so we were working on that, because there's no reason, stuff happens, and so I worked through that energy with her. But the cool thing was, when she was explaining to me what happened, I saw it clear as day. And I realized, and I was able to help her clear some of her stress, call it guilt, whatever, around the situation, because her child didn't actually hit the ground and bounce up. What happened was, I saw an angelic being swoop down. It was the child's angelic being, was the knowledge I was given. It was one of his guardian angels, swooped down and put their hands right underneath the child, just as he would have hit the ground. And the angel just kind of flicked their wrists and popped him back up. And so it was exactly what she was explaining. I was able to see with my gifts and detail to her exactly what had happened. And she's very much a believer, and she already knows that there's angels around them. They all have guardian angels. And so it was such a relief to her to hear this. It was a joyous, miraculous moment for her to hear this. It was great for her to be able to share what I shared with her children, to let them know, we truly are protected. And yeah, I was so happy to see that and to explain what happened. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. This is a true story. All of the stories that I share on here are they're all very true. They're all things that I've seen or been a part of and seen, or had happened to me. But I wanted to share this one because it gives a good accounting of how I'm able to help people one-on-one, whether you've lost someone or you're getting ready to lose someone through the veil, because they're never really lost. It's like stepping through a door. They're just not in this dimension anymore where you're able to actually see them. Whether you're going through a divorce, whether you are facing an illness, whether you have an upcoming surgery. I mean, the list goes on and on. I've had clients from every walk of life, and I love sharing my gifts and being able to help them to clear energy, to move forward through trauma, and to just know that they are worthy. Much of what we've been taught about the angelic realm and our creators is that, we have to do certain things to be worthy. And I just want you to know that we are always loved and we're always worthy. And it is amazing to me that there are just, when you see crowds of people, my angels are interjecting this right now. They want you to close your eyes and visualize when you see a large crowd of people at, say, a stadium of some sort, whether it's a concert or whether it's a football game, and you see, 50,000 people at this stadium. They want you to envision that there are at least 100,000 beings there, because there's 50,000 people in the flesh, and then each one of them has at least one guardian angel. Some have two, some have three. That's a whole nother topic. But they want you to understand, to just visualize that, and to know that you were not sent here alone, that we all have so much help we can tap into. And your angels really love it when you talk to them. So I just wanted to share this story. I hope it was uplifting. And if you'd like to work with me one-on-one, please reach out. My email will be underneath this video where you can reach out to me. I am doing specials on sessions right now. They're basically like an introductory session, but also it's just to help the collective. So they're free sessions. They're 45 minutes. They are one-on-one sessions with me on the phone. And I can just kind of help you in whatever way you need help. And you can decide at the end if you want to donate to my efforts and pay as you will. And if you decide you don't, that's fine too. I am calling these free sessions. I am trying to help people to heal in whatever way I can, on whatever level, layer, realm, or dimension I can. I hope you have a great day, guys. Take care.